Rick, what you got going on, man? How you feel about this contract, man? And how you feel about how they treated us this whole year?
To me, man, I think everything was kind of like a gimmick to get us to push these boxes and put money in front of us to try to get money and not think about how to lace our contract. And I think we ran for the money, we ran for the push, and I think they was up on us this whole year on trying to get their agenda across, which was give us nothing.
So our dedication, you know what I mean, through COVID, we lost members, you know, in LA, Seattle, you know what I'm saying, Oakland. We lost members, you know what I'm saying, and we gave these companies, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, you know what I'm saying. Right. How you feel about that?
Well, it was kind of like a slap in the face when they first said that we wouldn't get any COVID pay, because they got paid out. They got paid out a big lump sum. So it's like, how you gonna hold our money? You know, that was the hardest thing to kind of swallow. That we got all these boxes done, we got all this work done, and what we should have done is we should have. That's when we had the leverage. When we was in that COVID situation, that's when we had the leverage, and we let that go because we kept thinking that Trump was going to screw us over. Instead of, we should have just been negotiating at that particular time when we had the leverage. After the COVID situation was open and the boxes prices started coming down, they felt like they didn't have to bargain in good faith. They didn't got their money, and so they was like, we ain't got to give y'all nothing. So that's how I kind of take that. Yeah.
So for them 2 years, you know, that they made a lot of money. I think it was something like $500 billion. Yeah. I'm not sure, right. But I guess that's $500 billion in profit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, they probably made $1.5 trillion, but they took home $500 billion in profit. Right?
For a place that is if you look it up, is a non-profit organization. So yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of profit sharing, you know what I mean, what kind of raise do you think that we should have got?
To me, I thought we was going in and trying to get 20.
Yeah, I'm Ron Kaufman. I'm a member of ILwu Local 34. I started in Local 10 in 1989. What I basically want to talk about is the port supplements. You know, and Local 10 has a port supplement. It's a mechanic port supplement. The officials in Local 10, they negotiate the supplement by themselves with the employer. They don't take it to the executive board. They don't take it to the membership to vote. Local 91, the walking bosses in this port, they have a port supplement. They haven't renegotiated their port supplement since 1988. And it allows the employee to pick and choose who makes walking boss. It violates seniority. And they're negotiating their port supplement at the present time. And what we need to be aware of this is that because of these port supplements, you're being discriminated against in promotions. For example, like being a walking boss. You should be able to be a walking boss in regardless of what port you're in.
All our brothers and sisters who died, not just here on Local 10 level, but West Coast alone, there shouldn't be no reason why we're where we are right now. There shouldn't be no reason why they should have came to the table with good faith and we can hammer this out. Already been had it. Everybody's happy on both sides. We continue to work. We broke records, we set records in the middle of COVID, which is unheard of. And still can't get what I feel like we do. Come on.
So all that money that they made, $500 billion, do you think that, you know what I'm saying, that they could have like siphoned off maybe $5 billion of that? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like this.
Cause we worked hard.
We deserve an adequate raise. Cost of living increase, I still ain't hearing about that. Stolen work, equipment. There's a lot of other things with that money that could have been done. But besides giving us our raise, besides giving us our retro, our COVID hazard pay, that should have already been taken care of. But let's talk about this equipment. Let's talk about the function on the job, how the job is ran. If everything ain't running smooth, then how could you penalize the people that's actually coming to work during the pandemic?
So tell me this. Okay, we got the AI coming up. we've been having the robots, you know, the automated ports out in LA. You know what I'm saying? Now they got the AI coming up. How do you feel about the training? Do you think that we need to start sending our members to, or the PMA needs to have a training program for that?
For what?
For the AI that's coming?
The thing about AI though, brother, ain't gonna be no training because the AI can do it without the humans. We feeding the system. We feeding AI. AI wouldn't be AI if it wasn't for us humans feeding it all day, every day. Eventually, it's gonna look at humans as we're obsolete. That's just what it is.
So in terms of negotiations, how do we negotiate?
I honestly, truthfully, if we were smart, we need to start thinking about going for tonnage.
Yeah.
We need to start thinking about tonnage. If we don't focus on tonnage, we're gonna find ourselves in a crossroads because AI ain't going nowhere. And right now, they're saying it's 95% smarter than humans right now. So can you imagine within the next couple of years what the AI is gonna run all this.
That's real talk. Part two.
What I basically want to talk about is the port supplements. You know, and Local 10 has a port supplement, it's a mechanic port supplement. The officials in Local 10, they negotiate the supplement by themselves with the employer. They don't take it to the executive board. They don't take it to the membership to vote. Local 91, the walking bosses in this port, they have a port supplement. They haven't renegotiated their port supplement since 1988. And it allows the employee to pick and choose who makes walking boss. It violates seniority. And they're negotiating their port supplement at the present time. And what we need to be aware of this is that because of these port supplements, you're being discriminated against in promotions. For example, like being a walking boss. You should be able to be a walking boss in regardless of what port you're in. If you talk about the clerk's port supplement, they haven't negotiated their supplement since 1952. And the thing about it is that they give us tidbits or excerpts from it, and then we vote on the bullshit. But what we got to do, we're in a good position, the rank and file, if we demand that they come clean and give us this information so the rank and file can make an intelligent decision on voting on this. So if we don't wake up, we're gonna let it slip by.
So how do you feel about this negotiations over the last year being private?
It's no good. It's no good. What the union is doing is they want to censor us. You know, they don't want us to say nothing. They don't want us to have a voice, and it's not a good thing.
So who does that benefit by it being private? Who does that largely benefit?
The employer.
So do you think that if they would have been more open, we probably would have been on strike maybe 8 months ago?
Well, yeah, they should have brought a strike vote to us, you know, because a strike vote has to be authorized by the membership, you know, and then maybe they would have took the negotiations a little bit more serious. You know, it ain't no guarantee that we would have passed a strike vote, but I mean, we've done nothing more than just let our officials run over there and kiss the employer's ass for the past year, and we haven't come away with anything. Watch the game, man. That's why, you know, there's something wrong in our port, in the port of San Francisco and Oakland, when you have the bosses, you have the employer picking and choosing who gets what in this port. You can't give it all to the employer. Just can't do that. And since they gave it all to the employer, a lot of the rank and files, the membership, their loyalty is to the company instead of the union.
So do you think that the money that was made, that's $500 and some billion that was made in a couple of years, and then none of it trickled back down to the union, do you think that's a disservice to all union members?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's a fact that the employer made record profits during the COVID. And we didn't get anything. We didn't get nothing. And what we should have did is just took a stand and refused to work until they negotiate something for us to come back out here and risk our life.
Because we lost lives. We lost a lot of lives.
Lost a lot of people.
In the port of
LA,
San Francisco, Port of
and
LA,
yeah,
Seattle. We lost a lot of members through
no doubt
COVID,
about it.
and so it's blood. It's blood on the ground.
No doubt about it.
You know what I mean?
And then they want to give us some kind of payout that's just a little bit of nothing compared to what the employee done made out here. But you just have officials, man. They seem to be bought and paid for.
So how do you feel about the AI and the things that's not being discussed in terms of like technology? Because they obviously didn't get the technology right back in 2004 that they supposed to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All this automation, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I mean, where the jobs?
Well,
You know, they hired a bunch of superintendents, but
Yeah, they're real hush hush in the port of San Francisco and Oakland about it. They're really most of the technology is going on in the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach because they've been affected by this automation. Some of their terminals are fully automated, but we're not getting no input about what's going on from our officials. It seems like we're kind of being left out.
right. Well, in the port of San Francisco, you know, we have a record number of superintendents that's working. Actually, they're pretty much working. You know what I mean? They're doing longshore clerk work, their boss work. They own the ships. You know what I mean? They got radios. They working, so they pretty much bypass the hall, and they got hired with SSA or they got hired with Trade Pack, and basically they're using them as workers,
Yeah.
and they're on the computers.
Well, I believe the reason that those things are going on in the port of San Francisco, Oakland, is because our officials, and this was done many years before I come down here. I came down here in 1989. But they made these agreements with the employer where in this port, the employer picks and chooses who makes 9.43 steady, who makes walking balls, who makes, clerks is 50-50 because 20 people took a stand in the early 80s and fought for that right, and they come away with a 50-50 deal. But anytime you give all your rights to the employer, you have rank and filers that their loyalty is going to be to the company and not the union.
So do you think that by us not being able to go to LA, go to Seattle, and everybody sit at the same table, do you think that affects this union?
Well,
Our
sure
union?
it does. Sure it does, because it comes down. You have these different. Every port has its own working rules. These port supplements, and you don't have one unified set of rules. Even though we work under a single collective bargaining agreement, and that was Sam Cagle before he retired. On his last opinion that he gave as coast arbitrator, he ruled that we work under a single collective bargaining agreement. And the courts have also ruled in the Squire Scott case that the ILwu consists of a single collective bargaining agreement, but yet each local has these side rules that directly affect your rights regarding seniority, job opportunities. A lot of these agreements are discriminatory regarding race, age, and gender.
Well, speaking on seniority, since you talked about seniority, it was one of your cases where they ruled for you, saying that you was already qualified when they came and they tried to, send you back to Local 10, and they ruled for you because they said you already had 4,001 hours, so you was already qualified. A lot of our members are being sent, are not even having an opportunity because they're not even allowing them to come in, even though they got more clerk hours than a lot of these ports that don't even have our type of clerk work.
That test,
Where's Natasha?
that clerk test that we take is culturally biased. This is a labor organization. No test is required. It's all bullshit. But when people sit back and don't fight for their rights and don't oppose these injustices, they have this shit going on. Because you got a lot of people out here that do the clerk work. They do an excellent job, but they can't get by that test. So it's a discriminatory tool that they use, and it needs to be changed. But the only way it's going to change is that people get together collectively and speak out about it.
Well, they do have a case with that Robert F. Peckham, right? He ruled that it was a couple of criteria that had to be met. You know, time served in the industry, seniority.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that was part of like the criteria of how our local ILW is supposed to hire.
Yeah.
And it seems like they just went beyond that and just picked whoever they want to pick to become boss.
Because, for example, how can you disqualify a man that has several thousand hours of doing the job, and he does the job basically every day, and yet he can't get by that test, so he's disqualified. His seniority is violated. Just people have to get together, man. We just have to collectively come together to try to get things done, you know. And you got to fight. You got to use the grievance machinery, and you have to be willing to do anything that you possibly can to make change. Because it's a great job, it's a great union, but it's still a lot of things that need to be corrected, especially in the port of San Francisco and Oakland.
That's real talk. Anybody wants to get a hold of, you know, what we got going on, you can reach us on that Waterfront Worker. You can Google it. It's on Facebook, but you can reach out to us like that, and maybe we can all come together and straighten out some of this stuff in the port.
Yeah.
All right.